welcome back to the channel. Well, today we're over here at Pure Drivetrain, and if you're not familiar with Pure Drivetrain, they do transmissions. So as many know, I had a spare transmission that came out of my black truck, so I dropped that off to get some work done to it so it'll be ready to match up with the built motor and really turn up when the time comes. So I got the call the other day that the transmission was done. So I was like, let's go take a look at it. So we're gonna go in here, get the trans. If you saw from the early part, they were just finishing the last part, adding that logo, and we're gonna see exactly what makes this trans stand out against some of the other built or modified transes that are out on the market. All right, so we're over here with Chris from Pure Drivetrain.
Yep, Pure Drivetrain Solutions.
So I'm picking up my trans. You want to give these people a little idea of what you guys are offering?
So for the 10 speeds, we have just the baddest bitch out, plain and simple. We do all our own drive plates, all our own base plates, all the aluminum stuff that's in there, some of the baskets and drives we hard anodize to reduce wear, on long-term wear. We have our own frictions. It's a higher coefficient of friction assembly, all our own steels. It's a bad unit. What you have shouldn't have a problem at 1500 horsepower. We've done a lot of testing the last year or so on them before we released any, and you have one of the first 5 that are actually going out that aren't test units, that are actually production units.
So that 1500, are you thinking at an engine or at the tire?
Wheel. I mean, listen, we underrate it. I like to, I guess we've got a couple right around 1500 that have shown no signs of failure, even after a bunch of abuse, taking it apart and looking at what it looks like. So we're super confident in it. I expect you to beat the shit out of this thing and send it.
Oh yeah. So now one of the big things that guys have run into with the 10 speed where they were only basically getting like a little clutch increase, minor, not major.
I try not to talk about what others are doing because I don't know what every.
No, I'm not. No names.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just, but I did my due diligence on what other people are doing within their, their builds. And what we found is in the 10-speed market, the 8-speed market, all these guys, the problem that most builders come across, the problem that they all come across is that they're not manufacturing their own parts. They're not machining anything. They're just buying what's readily available. What they can order a clutch pack online and drop into a transmission is what they're giving out as a built transmission. And I'm not saying that's bad, but that's only gonna take you so far. So now we take it one step further and we dissect the whole entire thing, and we machine the hub drives, we make our own custom top plates. So for instance, one pack has 5 clutches in it. We turn it into 9. And not only are we turning it into 9, we're also increasing the coefficient of friction on the paper, and changing spring rates, de-apply springs, apply springs. We're changing the springs in the packs. It's a lot of work to figure this stuff out, and then the biggest thing is keeping the TCMs happy. I mean, my main background is tuning, doing it 20 years. I know it sounds like forever, but that's what gives me the advantage over a lot of these guys out there that can't overlook data. So if somebody has a problem with a transmission, they can send me a TCM log and I can sit there and go over with it. They can send me a TCM file and I can find things that, they might have overlooked. I mean, listen, everybody makes mistakes, and it's when these new ECUs, TCMs, they need to work in conjunction with each other. And that's the biggest thing. A lot of people are just like, hey, can you send me a TCM file? Well, a TCM file, if it doesn't match what the ECU side is outputting to the TCM, it's not going to work, and vice versa. The TCM sending out to the ECU, it's not going to work. If you're not requesting the correct torque, it's just, there's so many things that can go wrong, and we don't offer a generic TCM file. We just tell people, like, listen, these are who we recommend, the people that we've seen that actually have a good idea of working with the transmission tunes that can make it work in conjunction with the ECU side.
Okay, all right. So Now you figure I'll probably turn up around 1,200 horsepower to the tire. Do you? And I normally do about 400 pass on a pre-COVID. I do about 400 passes a season.
Yep.
How do you feel on your trans handling that?
I'm comfortable with it. We beat the shit out of stuff. I mean, we have our chassis dyno here. We do all our own testing in-house beforehand. We have our test rig here. We'll run the stuff through cycles. We have spring cycle testers. That's all stuff that at another date we'll have you back and we'll show you the rest of the facility so you can see all the testing equipment that we have in-house to cycle test springs, to cycle tests, frictions. We do a lot of in-house testing, and then we do a lot of out-of-house testing where we'll send stuff out and say, here, beat the ever-living shit out of it for a month, send it back to me, and then we tear it down and see what we have. And we do that before we release anything, to the public. It just, I can't use my customers as test beds. We will tell people like, okay, cool, we haven't seen a failure at roughly 1,500 horsepower. And then they go, okay, well, I want something for 1,800. That's kind of the place where we start to form some relationships and work with people. Like, listen, we haven't had anybody fail this build at X amount of power. You want to go to this, start with this, and then we'll see where the next failure points are. Case in point, like we talked to GM engineer who designed the 10-speed transmission, and they're like, oh, the input shaft's going to break at 1,000. The input shaft's going to break at 1,000. We haven't seen an input shaft failure yet. Will it happen? Possibly. I don't know, but we haven't seen it. Are we capable of making an input shaft here? Yeah, we're fully capable of making an input shaft, and if we have to, we will. But we haven't seen it. If we do see it, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, and that's when we start moving on with development into the later stages.
All right, man. I'm looking forward to beating the crap out of this thing.
We're looking forward to you beating the crap out of it too.
All right, so in your website, I'll put in the link and I'll pop it up on the screen for where guys can order theirs. On average, if a guy places an order online to send his trans in, what type of turnaround?
Generally 2 to 3 days. Our average build time is 2 to 3 days. From as soon as it comes off the truck here in the shipping receiving area, usually within an hour it's torn down, inspected. It's either in the hot tanks, the sonic washers, and it's getting ready to be inspected. We don't, same thing, back to where we were before releasing stuff. I won't release anything until we have enough parts to build at least 50 units. I've got enough parts next door to build 10 R80, 10 L80, 10 L90. We have enough parts in stock right now to build over 50 of those units. From gasket and seal kits to pans to piston seals, friction steels, drive plates, literally everything is on the shelf ready to go. We don't sell the parts. I know people are gonna ask. They're our builds, we don't sell the parts. But we have everything in stock so that we can offer a 2 to 3 day turnaround time. Like I was telling you earlier, we had 2 guys next day, 2 transmissions from California. They asked for an expedited service. We got them in Friday, tore them down Friday, got them built Saturday, worked a half a day yesterday, and they're leaving here today. Same thing, you were here, guy drove up from North Carolina, he's staying in a hotel while we build the transmission for the next day and a half. If there's a situation like that where you're like, hey, I have a race and I need to get to this or I need to get to that, just, if you're not giving us a day or 2 notice, if you give us a week or 2 notice, we can schedule things like that. Because same thing, we're racers. We know what it's like to have your back against the wall, you have a failure, you have something going on, you want to turn it up, there's a big event coming up. Just hit us up, email us, call us, whatever it may be, and we'll figure it out and get you in and out. We don't charge extra for the expedite service. It's just, we work it into our schedule.
All right, you guys are the man. All right, we're gonna see how this thing really holds, because I'm gonna be doing some half-mile stuff too.
Yeah, half-mile stuff should be badass.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Get on the pallet?
Yeah. Keep it simple.
Really? Yep.
Whoa, so there you have it. 1,500 horsepower. So I think we got enough leeway with the weight of a truck versus a car and the horsepower that we will be making as we turn all the way up, that we shouldn't have any problems. Man himself said it, so I'm feeling positive, and I'm really feeling a little itchy now. I mean, we have the trans now in hand, we have the motor in hand. Do we just pop them both in now and just turn up? Let me know in the comments if you guys think I should just turn up now or continue with the gradual progressions, or turn up and put the built stuff in and still continue the gradual progressions up until the kill mode. That way we're less likely to worry about breaking anything. 1,500 horsepower and can handle a 400 pass season. I like that. I'm excited. But yeah, so as always, if you enjoyed the video and the information, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. And yeah, till the next time, Boosted F-150 out.